Hi, my name's Anna Gomberg. I am the Senior Program Manager for Solar Education at We Share Solar, and I am recording a version of a presentation that was given at the Educating for Careers Conference in California in March, titled Prepare High School Students for NABCEP Photovoltaic Associate Credentials. I'm recording this so that other teachers in other states can watch it, or teachers who were unable to attend the conference to find out about the work that We Share Solar has been doing, to kind of explore ways that we could support students receive NABCEP credentials while they're at school. So I will today talk about the following things. I'll introduce myself and also my colleague, Curry, who I did this work with, who also presented with me at the conference. A brief overview of the NABCEP Photovoltaic Associate Credential, an overview of We Share Solar, and an introduction to our equipment that's changed over the last decade, where we're going with that, or hoping to go with that. A little bit of a case study of how these solar suitcases have been used by Curry at Yosemite High School. The work we've been doing recently funded by PG&E, opportunities for feedback and partnership from you, teachers who are interested in learning more about this or working more towards some of these goals, and then next steps that people can take if they want to get more involved. So the two people that worked on this curriculum this year were me. I'm the Senior Program Manager for Solar Education at We Share Solar, as I already mentioned. I taught for a long time in Oakland Unified School District, initially teaching chemistry, but eventually teaching CTE in an energy, environment, and utilities pathway. This was at Skyline High School. My email address is there if anyone wants to contact me. Curry is also a teacher in an energy, environment, and utilities pathway. He teaches in at Yosemite High School in Merced. His background is much more technical than mine. He is a qualified practicing electrician. And he really focuses at his school, which is an alternative education school, on ways to do workforce development with his students and prepare them for industry certification or employment once they leave school. So that's Curry Boykin at Yosemite High School, Merced. And we collaborated on this curriculum development for about 6 months in the end of 2023, beginning of 2024. And I'll say more about Curry, the work that Curry's done in his class a little bit later. Okay, so NABCEP is the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, and they have credentials that professionals can take that help them with employment. So the kind of entry level NABCEP qualification for solar is called the NABCEP Photovoltaic Associate Credential. And this is something that is accessible and something that young students directly out of high school, you do have to be 18 to take the test, should be able to do with the appropriate support. When looking at the available resources online, you'll see that there are many ways to kind of get support with taking this. There are paid courses that people can take online, and the content is very accessible. However, what we found is that most of the current resources really are aimed at adults who are already kind of interested in this and, you know, are able to kind of sit down and sit through a fully online course with no hands-on components. And what we're keen to do is to try and work out ways that this can be more accessible to youth, and include hands-on experiences that make it more interesting, and that help them to be more likely to be able to pass the test when they come to it. By achieving this credential, it's a really great way to get a job, to get the first rung on the ladder to a solar career. Eventually, there are higher level credentials that youth would want to take that involve on the job training and hours accumulated over time. But we think this is a really great way to help students have a leg up and get them into the workforce directly out of high school if necessary, if desired, and really try and help get more of our students into renewable energy jobs, which are abundant, will be more abundant, and are well paid. So this is where We Share Solar comes in. If you don't already know who we are, our mission is to equip students for the future through solar energy education with real world impact. And there are a few different ways that we attempt to do that. So our program model, Learn, Build, Share, we really focus on teachers. So we train teachers. We have a curriculum, in-depth curriculum that is science oriented. So it really fits into kind of physics, engineering curriculum. It's great for middle and high school students, and it's fully adaptable. So we train teachers, we then provide equipment, and these are almost always grant-funded programs. We provide equipment that allows students to build a standalone solar system. So they learn some technical skills, they get to learn some concepts about energy storage, energy management, flow of electricity, and they build these working standalone solar suitcases. They then share them. So depending on the program, sometimes these suitcases get deployed internationally, most often to schools, community centers or libraries in East Africa. Kenya and Uganda are our main countries we work in. Or sometimes these suitcases get deployed locally to the local community for emergency preparedness. So we have lots of different ways that these suitcases are out there in the world being used. And we found that the process of building them is very, very, very engaging for students and for teachers. Our equipment has changed over the years. So initially we had this 501 model, which was kind of the most complicated, largest model that was designed initially for deployment. That then shifted to the 601 model, which was more designed to be kind of easier to use in the classroom, a bit more accessible for students. And we're currently developing a newer model, the Solar Learning Kit model, which is designed purely for education. So this model wouldn't ever be deployed. This is something that is designed specifically for learning. And so you can see that we're adaptable. We're always thinking about what we're doing and trying to improve. So this is just a little bit of kind of our history. The work that Corey has been doing has been with these 501 models, and the curriculum that we have written. We're starting to look at using this learning model, which is a model that would stay in the classroom, and we're hoping is one that would be cheaper and more accessible so that we could get more equipment into the hands of more students. Here are some photos from Corey's classes at Yosemite High School. So as I mentioned earlier, he teaches in an alternative education school, and his class is called Green Technology. Because of his background and technical expertise, he's been able to really use our equipment to prepare students for the workforce. So he has had success with some of these students in preparing them for this NABCEP Solar Associate exam. They've taken the exam and they've passed. A lot of our programs, maybe the students use the solar suitcases for a couple of weeks. They build them, they learn some of the concepts, and they move on. But in Corey's class, he's been able to use them repeatedly over time, taking more measurements, applying the concepts that you can explore with the solar suitcases to the NABCEP learning objectives. Some more pictures of the students working on the solar suitcases. And so the fact that he'd had this great success and was just kind of doing it by himself really made us think that we should try and explore what he's been doing and see if we can get his curriculum out there to more people, if there are more teachers who are interested in working on this kind of level of work-based learning with their students, which obviously fits incredibly well into CTE, especially into energy environment and utilities pathways in California, but it would also fit into an engineering pathway, sometimes a construction pathway, depending on what you have in your state. Okay, so this work was funded by PG&E. There are utility in Northern California, and they've been funding WeShare solar programs since 2015. We share with them a priority for workforce development, and they gave us funding during the 2023-2024 school year to actually work on this NABCEP aligned CT curriculum development. So we're recognizing their support in terms of helping us, significantly helping us with this work. And here is the work that we have done. So far, we have created lessons for 4 of the NABCEP job task analysis learning objectives. And we've created high quality resources to kind of show the level that we're going for. Each lesson plan also follows next generation science standards. And we're using the 5E lesson plan structure, which I'll show some example lesson plans very soon. And then also we're trying to link these to relevant CT standards for the energy, environment, utilities pathway, which is a California specific pathway. There are slides for each of these lessons that are student facing, and then fully developed hands-on activities using our equipment, specifically using our new SLK model, which we're piloting right now. And then the other thing that we've made sure every lesson includes, which is essential for preparing the students for the NABCEP exam, we have example practice problems and vocab review resources. Corey's experience has taught him that vocabulary really is key for this test preparation. So we're making sure that we've started to produce some resources for learning this technical vocabulary and practicing it repeatedly using Quizlet, so that students are really well prepared for the exam. Because often looking at the example exam questions, knowing vocab gets you a lot of the way there. So so far we have created lessons for 4 of the job task analysis standards. I'll start with this one here. So the first one, the standard that the students need to be able to meet is to be able to describe different types of PV system applications. You can see we have some NGSS standards listed here, CTE standards listed. This is the information from NABCEP. So we've created a lesson to make sure that we've met all of these points. And we have the 5E lesson plan. So engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. And the evaluate section is the same for all these 4 lessons. We always have a Quizlet and a couple of example questions. So in this lesson, I'm not going to go through every single lesson. The links are all available for you to look at your leisure. We start with an activity where students look at different they kind of try and build different types of solar electric systems using some information that they're given. So this is an introduction to the different types of solar. PV direct is the most simple. Standalone solar system is what they can build if they build a solar suitcase. And then we get to more complex systems, AC off-grid, a microgrid, grid direct, etc. We would then have them actually build a solar learning kit. So we have linked the information for how you would build one of those, assuming you have the equipment. And then the explain section, we generally have some kind of teacher lecture provided information to make sure that the technical content is really getting covered. An elaborate section where the students get to use their new knowledge to apply it to a new scenario. And then the evaluate section. So if I open up the slides for this lesson, you can see the types of materials that we're trying to produce. So here we have all the resources for the engage section. the explore section, explain. So that would be the teacher lecture section. Elaborate, so trying to use this new knowledge to answer a different question and you know, really kind of apply it. So the students can push themselves a little bit more. And then finally evaluate. So we have some questions that are similar to, they're the same kind of structure to NABCEP questions, and a link to a Quizlet with the answers in there as well. So that's an example of the kind of lessons we've produced. Go back here. And we have 3 more of those. So what we found is that producing these high quality lesson plans takes quite a lot of time. And if we wanted to continue on this path, we need to make sure that the need is there and that there are teachers out there who will be interested in collaborating with us and actually teaching these lessons. So that was one of the reasons to present at this conference, to see how interested people were in California and now beyond, to work out what our next steps might be. So the next step for us is we're trying to see whether our teachers, ideally we're looking at like a pathway and district level, because we know that teachers are amazing and work very hard, but having this, you know, more of a structural support would probably help this work go further. So any, you know, people who are interested in further curriculum development and implementation with students. We have had 1 meeting since the conference to kind of reconnect with the teachers that were there. And we're looking to see if that's something we should continue. If we have a group of people who are really interested in taking this further and think it would work in their school or their district or their pathway, the next step is to identify more funding sources for equipment and continued curriculum development. We do have a contact at NABCEP who's very interested in what we're doing, and we will be able to hopefully work with them on the certification side. So working out, you know, how students could actually take these tests and get recognized, which would involve working with NABCEP to get schools registered as training providers. So if this is of interest to you and you would like to find out more, partner with us, that would be great. You'll see a link to a spreadsheet where you can sign up and give us more information. You're also more than welcome at any time to email me. My email address will be shared as well. And we'd love to talk more and see if you're interested. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and we hope to hear from you.